Captain Ria's fur bristled as the alarm pierced through the quiet corridors of Station Kalara 9. Her clawed fingers flew across the security console, pulling up camera feeds with practiced urgency. The Velkari officer had seen many crises in her 15 cycles aboard the multi-species station, but nothing sent ice through her veins quite like the words flashing on her screen. All cubs missing from nursery wing, 12 younglings. 12 different species. Gone. She bolted from her post, her powerful legs carrying her through the sterile hallways at breakneck speed. The nursery wing was the most protected area on the station. Triple locked doors, biometric scanners, dedicated guards. How could 12 cubs simply vanish? When she reached the nursery, Coordinator Vesh stood frozen in the doorway, his forearms trembling. Captain, I checked on them an hour ago. They were all sleeping. I don't understand. Ria pushed past him, her amber eyes scanning the empty sleeping pods. Toys lay scattered across the floor. The air still carried the sweet scent of youth, but the cubs, a Velkari kit, 2 Threxian hatchlings, a Gordian pup, 3 human infants, and 5 others from various species, were simply gone. Pull all surveillance footage, Ria commanded, her tail lashing behind her. Lock down the station. Nobody leaves until we find them. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Every deck was searched. Every ventilation shaft was scanned. Ria's security team moved with military precision, but panic was beginning to set in among the crew. Parents were being notified. Diplomatic incidents were brewing. The station commander was breathing down her neck. Then a junior officer's voice crackled over her comm. Captain, you need to see this. Deck 7, Residential Quarter 14B, the humans' quarters. Ria's blood ran cold. Humans, the newest species to join the Galactic Coalition. They had been aboard the station for only 2 months, and already they were at the center of an incident. She'd heard the rumors about them, their strange resilience, their bizarre pack-bonding instincts, their unsettling ability to survive conditions that would kill most species. She stormed toward the human quarters, her team flanking her. Whatever had happened, whoever this human was, they would answer for. The door slid open. Ria stopped dead in her tracks. There, in the dimly lit room, was Milo, the human maintenance worker she'd seen around the station. He sat on a pile of cushions and blankets arranged on the floor, his back against the wall. And surrounding him, nestled against his body, curled up on his lap, tucked under his arms, were all 12 missing cubs. They were sleeping. Milo looked up at her with tired eyes, pressing a finger to his lips in the universal gesture for silence. Shh, he whispered. Just got them all down. Ria's mind struggled to process the scene. Her kit, her own nephew, was curled against the human side, purring softly. The Threxian hatchlings, notoriously difficult to calm, were draped across his legs like contented serpents. Even the Gordian pup, whose species was known for their aggression, was nestled peacefully against Milo's chest, one of the human's hands resting gently on its back. What? Ria's voice came out as a strangled whisper. What have you done? Milo shifted carefully, trying not to disturb the sleeping cubs. They were crying, he said simply. I was doing rounds near the nursery and I heard them. All of them just wailing. The coordinator guy looked overwhelmed, so I asked if I could help. You took them? Ria's hand instinctively moved toward her sidearm. Whoa, no! Milo raised his free hand defensively, the other still supporting a sleeping human infant. He gave me permission, said maybe a different caretaker might help. I thought he'd log it, but... He glanced at the sleeping cubs. They were so upset, scared. I think they had nightmares or something. I couldn't leave them like that. Ria's security team had their weapons drawn, but she raised a hand to stop them. Something about the scene didn't add up. The cubs weren't drugged. She could see their natural breathing patterns. They weren't restrained. They were simply content. How did you get them to sleep? She asked, her voice softer now. Milo shrugged carefully. I just held them. Rocked them a bit. Sang some songs. My mom used to do this thing where she'd pat my back in a rhythm. He demonstrated on the Gordian pup, his hand moving in a gentle, steady pattern. And it always knocked me out as a kid. Figured it might work on them too. One of Ria's officers, a Threxian named Seth, stepped forward. His translator crackled. Impossible. Threxian young cannot be soothed by other species. They only respond to their parents' pheromones. Milo glanced down at the 2 hatchlings. Well, these two seemed pretty into it when I hummed to them. They stopped crying and just melted, you know? Rhea approached slowly, her scientific mind overtaking her security training. She had studied human biology during their introduction to the coalition. They were physically weak compared to most species, lacking natural armor, claws, or venom, but they had other traits: endurance, adaptability, and something the reports had mentioned but she hadn't truly understood: an unprecedented capacity for social bonding. Humans, the reports said, could pack bond with anything. Their evolutionary history had made them social creatures on a level that most species found incomprehensible. They formed attachments to animals, to machines, even to inanimate objects. They cared, deeply and instinctively, for things that were small and vulnerable. "You're bonding with them," Rhea said, realization dawning. "You're treating them like human infants. I mean, they are infants, aren't they?" Milo smiled tiredly. "Different species, sure, but babies are babies. They need to feel safe, warm, protected." He looked down at the sleeping cubs with such genuine affection that Rhea felt something twist in her chest. I couldn't just leave them crying. The Velkari kit, her nephew, stirred slightly, and Milo immediately adjusted, his hand moving to stroke the kit's fur in long, soothing motions. The kit settled back into deep sleep, a tiny smile on his face. Rhea's throat tightened. She had been so terrified, so ready to unleash hell on whoever had taken the cubs. But this human hadn't taken them. He had rescued them from their own distress, crossing species boundaries that were supposed to be absolute. "Coordinator Vesh is going to have a lot of explaining to do," she said finally, lowering her weapon. "But you should have reported this properly." "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry." Milo looked genuinely apologetic. "I thought he was logging it. I was just focused on getting them comfortable." Rhea studied the human for a long moment. Then, against every protocol in her manual, she knelt down beside the pile of sleeping cubs. Her nephew opened one eye, saw her, and made a happy chirping sound before burrowing deeper into Milo's side. "This is highly irregular," she said. "I know. It's a security violation." "I know. And yet—" She reached out, carefully patting her nephew's head. "They've never slept this peacefully in the nursery." Milo's exhausted face broke into a genuine smile. "Kids feel when you care about them. Doesn't matter what planet you're from." Over the next hour, parents began arriving to collect their cubs. Each one reacted with shock, then confusion, then, after seeing their younglings sleeping so peacefully, cautious gratitude. The Threxian parents were particularly stunned, insisting on medical scans to confirm their hatchlings were unharmed. As the last cub was carried away, the Gordian pup, who whimpered pitifully when separated from Milo, Rhea remained behind. "You know this is going to cause a diplomatic incident," she said. Milo stretched, his joints popping audibly. "Yeah, I figured. Probably going to lose my job, huh?" Rhea's whiskers twitched in what humans would recognize as a smile. "Actually, I think you just created a new position. Seems we need a human in our childcare division." Milo blinked. "Really?" "Really?" Rhea stood, offering him a hand up. "Humans are strange creatures, Milo. You're weak, soft, and by all rights shouldn't be able to bond with species so different from your own." She pulled him to his feet. "But somehow you looked at our cubs and saw your own young. That's something special." As they walked toward the door, Milo paused. "Captain, can I ask you something?" "Yes? Why do you think they came to me?" "I mean, Vesh is trained for this." Rhea considered the question. "Because," she said finally, "humans don't just care for things because it's your job. You care because you can't help it." The cubs felt that, and in a strange station far from home, surrounded by unfamiliar species, they wanted someone who would love them just for being small and scared. Milo absorbed this silently. "Welcome to Station Kalara 9's Childcare Division, Human Milo," Rhea said. "Something tells me you're going to revolutionize how we think about cross-species early development." As they walked back through the station, past crew members whispering about the incident, Milo couldn't help but smile. He'd come to space to fix machines. Instead, it turned out he'd fixed something far more important. Humanity, it seemed, had a gift, and the galaxy was just beginning to understand what that meant.